And baby, it's another edition of the NFL DraftCast Show here, brought to you by All Access Football and the official 2025 NFL Draft Bible. We are 29 days away. Can you believe it? Can you believe we are 29 days away from the 2025 NFL Draft destination, Green Bay? If you can't tell, I'm all fired up, revved up, ready to go. We're going to break down some pro day reactions. We got Miami on the docket. We got Louisville going down. We got Ohio State today, 140 personnel in attendance. Are you kidding me? Texas yesterday. Oh, my God, LSU. We're going to talk about the Will Campbell arm length size, all that and more for the next hour of power. You are tuned in to the All Access Football NFL DraftCast Show. We stream live each and every Wednesday, 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Book that. Bookmark it, yes. Every Wednesday, counting you down to the 2025 NFL Draft. We'll be here live. If you're out there on the Twitterverse, X, YouTube, or wherever you may be, please give us a like, give us a share, give us a mention. Welcome into Hump Day. What a winning combination. NFL Draft and the Hump Day Wednesday here on this March 26, 2025. And here to break down the NFL Draft with us here each and every Wednesday, the pride of Massapequa, New York, of course, a undrafted free agent out of Duke University, spending over a decade in the NFL, and of course, an analyst at NFL Network, Fox Sports, Audacity, the best football show, period, and of course, the NFL DraftCast Show. Let's pop him up. Brian Baldinger, everybody. How we doing, Baldy?
Well, what do you say, Rick? I'm doing well. You know, I was started the week off at Miami's Pro Day, well attended. I think Mario Cristobal is doing a great job there. I actually went to practice on Tuesday there. I'm flying to State College tomorrow to get ready for Penn State's Pro Day on Friday. They start at 7 in the morning on Friday with measurements. And then heading the following week to Colorado to see Shador and Travis and what Deion's got cooking out there. So I'm busy right now. I'm kind of eyeballing some of this stuff. And really, as you know, Rick, some of these pro days, like, they are valuable. You do learn a lot, whether it's measurements or just getting a feel for the personality of these people. Like, I felt like I really got to know, the quarterback here in Miami pretty good over the day. And, he's Cam's, he's very mature, and you can feel how he elevated that program. And I feel like he can do that at the next level with the ability that he showed on his throwing session.
I'll tell you, you guys did an incredible job covering that Miami Pro Day. I was tuned in. I was locked in. I enjoyed each and every ounce of it. And, yeah, it's gym short and T-shirt season, right? But it's part of the process, right? Yeah. Like, you've got to go, check the boxes, show us what we want to see. And that's what Cam Ward did. I mean, that exclamation point, I thought, was when he did the mock scrambling 10, rollout, throw the ball 80 yards downfield, backpedaling. I mean, there's only a handful of people walking the planet that can make that throw.
He wanted to really show everything. I talked to him way before he threw. I mean, I met him at noon, watched him warm up with his quarterback coach at 12:30. He didn't throw till 5:30. And in between, he was meeting and greeting and supporting his teammates. Like, he really has all that together. But go to the throwing section, he wanted to show you under center, rollouts, zone throws against man. He wanted to kind of mix it all up. But yeah, when he had to, air it out on a scramble type drill and hit Restrepo 70 yards down the field, he dropped it in the bucket. But one thing he can do, and I really kind of studied it hard, getting ready to watch his pro day, is he can really torque. He can, like, whether it's just throwing an RPO or a hitch and he's just coming out sidearm without even stepping, like, he can really add velocity to the ball with being balanced, not getting crazy off balance, trying to, gun it. But he just has a whip that he can really torque some RPMs on when he makes a throw. And one thing I like, and actually some of his receivers told me the same thing, he got a couple throws got away from him. Immediately, as soon as it did, reloaded. Let's reload it. Let's get it right. Came right back and made the throw. And I kind of like that element where he knows it wasn't good. The receiver probably knew the route wasn't great. Let's redo it. Let's get it right before we move on to the next throw.
Yeah, listen, I came away thinking he's the first round quarterback. I'm going to ask you here. I'm going to come back to you in a second and ask you where you would rank him if he was in last year's draft, because I just got done watching Kurt Warner's breakdown on NFL Plus. And like one of the things you were just saying, the off platform throws, the ability to get by with those sidearm angles. And like he's so talented. Like the one thing, I don't know if it's a critique or a benefit, but like he can get by off a natural talent where, Kurt pointed out, like, obviously you want to be throwing in the direction of your target. Like
Yeah,
Cam can make throws where he's not necessarily stepping into the throw. He might be stepping in another direction and be able to make
yeah.
the completion. Two-part question. I wonder, can you get away with that in the NFL? And then secondly, if he were in last year's draft, Baldy, where do you kind of see him stack up with those 5 quarterbacks? Penix, Nix, then you had McCarthy, May, and Caleb up top. Like, where would he have?
Well, if he came out of Washington State, Rick, last year, like he was going to, and he was in that draft, I don't think he would have been in the first 6. I think coming to Miami, learning a new system, elevating that program, getting another year of refinement, I would say that right now he would probably be, I don't think he would have penetrated Caleb or Jaden at this point, but possibly Drake, possibly Penix. In fact, I talked to a safety, Michelle Powell, who played at Washington last year and went against Penix every day in practice, and then played at Miami this year and went against Cam every day in practice. And like I thought Penix was going to get drafted, number 8 by Atlanta. I predicted that. And he said that they're very, very different personalities, but Cam is more vocal and kind of a more vocal leader than Penix. Penix does it more quietly, but both elite athletes. One thing we saw from Penix, though, he ran at his pro day. He ran the 4.4s. We haven't seen Cam run, and we're not going to see him run. So it's just a question of, you think, is he as fast as Jalen Hurts? Is he fast? We don't really know. But
Yeah,
he did a lot of off script throws at Miami. He did a lot of plays where he had to really extend plays. The one thing I feel like he's really good at, and talk to him about it, is he's very good, whether he's going through progressions or off platform, is really getting his feet set. I don't know what I haven't seen Kurt's breakdown of him, but he will throw those sidearm throws without stepping because he can torque and get it there. And to answer your question, I think he can get away with that in the NFL. We see they had the same critique of Patrick Mahomes coming out of Texas Tech. Mechanics were all over the place. And even after all the success he's had at the NFL level, when he has a bad game or an off game or an off quarter, people say, oh, those are the mechanics that we thought were going to get him in trouble. Well, all right. We've learned to live with whatever mechanic issues there are.
Yeah, we'll take it, right? Brian Baldinger, Rick Serritella, breaking it down, the NFL DraftCast here on this March 26, 2025. We're 29 days away from Destination Green Bay. The 2025 NFL Draft Bible's coming out. When I tell you, like, they just allowed me out of the cave. Oceano let me out of the cave here to come do the show. I've been breaking down the NFL Draft Bible. Baldy's been breaking down the film. You can go to allaccessfootball.com. We got Baldy breakdowns, film breakdowns. We've got scouting seminars. We just did the defensive lineman. If you want to talk X's and O's, talk about the intricacies of what we look for when we're identifying edge rushers and defensive tackles. And we're going to skip around the rundown here. Cole Glotzer, the super producer behind the scenes, I apologize. Since we're talking about the scouting seminar and defensive line, one guy who did have a pro day, Baldy, and we keep coming back to this man because there's off-field character concerns, we'll call it. But Mike Green, I have it here, like the short shuttle and the 3-cone are where elite, like 4.25 short shuttle and 6.85 3-cone. Like these are wide receiver
numbers.
Yep. I mean, it's unbelievable the change of direction.
There's a real carryover, as you know, Rick, a real carryover and transfer to the NFL. Short area quickness.
Yeah.
When you're working off the edge is everything. I mean, you're getting, first of all, you're not running a 4.25 short shuttle without great explosion. You're not getting there. I watched 8 guys run the short shuttle at Miami the other day, including Restrepo, who actually ran a really good short shuttle time. He ran a very slow 40. Yeah. But the short area quickness, if you're Mike Green coming off the edge, Like we saw that at the Senior Bowl. We saw it against Ohio State. We see it. Character issues, that was at Virginia. They have been cleared up. I think everybody's very comfortable with some of those things. At least I know I feel like I am. But those are elite times to come in. And then to come in at, did he weigh 250? Was he 252? What would he weigh?
I think 252, 256, right around there. Yep.
Yeah, no, he's a first-round talent. It's just a question of, in a draft, right last night on NFL Network, I said, you can take it to the bank that if you count defensive tackles, ends, and edge, we could get 8 to 10 first-round picks in this draft, in this class. Yeah,
it's crazy. I'm doing the Draft Bible assembly process, and I got third-round guys where I'm labeling solid starters in the third round. It's such a deep class. But Mike Green from Marshall, 6'3" and 1/8", 251 pounds, 32-inch arms, a little bit of a concern. Will Campbell came in 33-inch arms. We're going to talk about that after the break. You mentioned character concerns. Josh Simmons from Ohio State also in action today at Pro Day. A little bit of character concerns we'll get into after the commercial break. Before we break, let's just wrap up some loose ends on the Miami Pro Day. You were out there in Coral Gables. You mentioned Xavier Restrepo. And listen, I want to like the kid. I knew something was up when he didn't run the 40 at the combine. And I said, he's not feeling too confident about it. I understand. Excellent route runner, maybe the best route runner in the draft class. I just can't. I went back and looked. I can't find a wide receiver in the history of the National Football League that's run a 4.83. Now, Anquan Bolden, different style of receiver, ran a 4.77.
A lot bigger, too.
Big, physical, right? Restrepo's kind of this slot gadget kind of guy. I mean, does he have a shot, Baldy? What was your?
Well, I mean, look, he caught 200 passes at Miami. I mean, he was productive. He does have, he ran a 4.21 short shuttle. I mean, Drew Rosenhaus is his agent. I watched him run it. He can say that there's hamstring tightness. He looks like he's running in quicksand, like he's not running away from anybody. Now, can you run all of the China routes and whip routes and, stick nods and some of the things that you run inside and win? All right. We've seen Julian Edelman do that, but they had explosion. Wes Welker, Julian Edelman. Like these guys had explosion in the slot. He doesn't have that. I don't think he's going to have it. He's very thick. But I do think he can make a roster. But even, you're running in the 4.8s. Like, are you really covering kicks? Are you covering punts at that? I mean, you're going to be a special team player.
Yeah.
You're going to be the 4 or 5 receiver. I think he was going to get drafted. He might have undrafted himself, Rick, by running that time.
Well, it's going to be an uphill battle trying to make a 53-man roster, especially when you don't specialize in special teams. One last note, I got to mention that safety because he had a bunch of interceptions. He's not on anybody's radar. It looks like he had a good pro day. I mean, what was the vibe or sense you're getting out of Powell?
I liked him. First of all, I went up and introduced myself. He knew who I was. And we had, I was talking about the quarterbacks. But he had 8 interceptions, between Washington, and he's got ball skills. We saw Cam Kitchens coming out of, Florida, Miami last year and have a great year with the interceptions with the Rams. I think he's got some ball skills. I thought he tested pretty well. I don't know. Like, I think there's a place for him in this draft. I think Jalen Rivers, the left tackle, left guard, has a chance. I've never seen a player at that level in college, literally in the middle of a series, go from left guard to left tackle, left guard. He did it because they were trying to rotate these tackles and get them on the field and get some experience. So he'd go inside the guard when they want to put somebody out of tackle. I mean, and he's a good kid with long arms and ability, and he can really bend. I liked him. I like Aurora. I know he's not testing and running, but he ran the routes. He's very smooth, very fluid, very smooth, really adjusted the ball in the air very, very well. Him and Mason Taylor, the two of them, I kind of got him neck and neck. I don't know how you got him ranked right now, Rick, but Mason, I saw his dad, Jason, he's coaching at Miami now, the defensive line. But, between Mason and Aurora, you can make a case that the way that they move, they might be day 2 for sure. It's a question, are they second round or do they slide to the third round right now?
It's a deep and talented tight end class, an underrated tight end class. We're going to get into that and much, much more right after the commercial break. Baldy down at Miami, the Hurricanes, Sam Brown, another wide receiver there, just to keep an eye on. Little smooth route runner, inside, outside versatility. I like that. I like that you went to the Mario Cristobal practice. You know, there's so much football to get to here on the NFL DraftCast Show. We only have an hour of power. We're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be back right after this.
Let's watch Cam Ward go through this progression right here. Let's just kind of slow it down here a little bit. Hard right, doesn't like it, comes back over the middle to Aurora and makes a throw. Now, let's go back and rewind it here. It's a great throw, touchdown throw to his tight end. Now let's go down, let's really slow it down here. Because it's one thing to have quick eyes and be able to go through the progressions. All right, ready to throw it, doesn't like it. Now watch him bring it back. But watch his footwork. The feet get set first, then he makes the throw. He doesn't get lazy with his feet. Important right there to be able to make a stick throw, all right, with anticipation to his tight end on the backside. Well done, Cam. One play here against Georgia Tech from Cam Ward to his outside receiver, Sam Brown. He's going to make a check at the line of scrimmage. Everybody's going to transfer it. Sam Brown is cutting his split right here because they're going to run a speed out on 2nd and 10. And Cam gets rid of the ball right now before Sam Brown is out of his break. And when he turns around, the ball's sitting there, 14 yards and a first down. And you watch the play right here, and you watch Cam just take total charge. All right? Signals the play, both sides. Everybody's got the check. All right? He's going to take the snap, and he's going to make this throw. All right? It's from the opposite hash right here, and he's going to stick it. Going to drive it, compact motion. The ball is perfectly thrown. That's an NFL play from Cam Ward to Sam Brown. Let's see. He's got Elijah Aurora right there going to the corner. Beautiful. Yeah, that's a great throw. Great throw.
We got arrow to the left, RPO.
He got his off-the-ball tight end right here, McCormick. All right, there we go. It comes out good. All right, let's...
Going fade to the right, going fade to the right. Go get him, Sammy.
All right, Sam Brown right here. Let's see on the outside, right at the 20. All right, here we go. We'll fade out. Keep it in bounds. There we go.
All right, it's the place to be. Buckle up. You're tuned into the NFL DraftCast Show. We're on location across the nation, so keep it locked every Wednesday, 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on X and around the All Access Football Media Platform Network. We are live.
Oh, baby, buckle up. It's a live edition of the NFL DraftCast Show with Brian Baldinger, Rick Serritella here on this March 26, 2025. You out there as we count you down 29 days away to destination Green Bay. And you don't want to be left naked without the NFL Draft Bible come draft day, right? Be impressive, educate the woman about your ball knowledge, your NFL draft football knowledge.
Well, the thing is, Rick, the draft Bible is so comprehensive because we're going to get guys drafted. And you can't possibly, on even shows like this or NFL Network, you can't go through 250 players that are going to get drafted. You can't get there. But you can. But they're going to show up on day 3, Rick. They're going to show up, and we're going to wonder, like, who are they? What do we know about them? And you just go to the Bible, and you're going to get every nugget you need to know about those players going to your team. And what are you getting? Because we saw Puka Nacua go and light the league up, in a 5th-round pick. We see it every year. Guys that are at the bottom here, day 3 picks, and you're like, well, they have a chance. I mean, can they make it? And we get some real insight right here to some of the players we're going to talk about.
Yeah, that's right. And 1/3 of every NFL draft roster consists of undrafted free agents. That's why you want to get the draft Bible, because you want to know who these guys are and we go deep. And, Puka Nacua, you mentioned it, from Puka Nacua to Puka Williams was in that draft Bible. And we got Puka Williams is running around in the indoor football league. In fact, All Access Football, we're going to be tracking the top indoor football league prospects, the UFL football league prospects, the CFL football league prospects. We're going to be ranking those guys, who the NFL teams should program prospects, okay? Because we got 13 international players working out, I think, today at the University of South Florida. Shout out to Scott Pioli. But we can only cover so much here on the NFL DraftCast. Baldy and Rick breaking it down for the next 20 minutes or so. You mentioned the tight ends. I think it's such a deep and talented tight ends. And to answer your question right now, we've got Tyler Warren, where you'll be at Penn State Pro Day later this week. We've got Colston Loveland from Michigan, who I think people are sleeping on a little bit. And then you mentioned you saw Elijah Arroyo in person, 6'5", 250 pounds, big, fast catch target. Now, a little bit of a one-year wonder. Had some injury woes early in his career, right? So kind of just popped onto the NFL radar, whereas a Mason Taylor, he's got those NFL bloodlines, 6'5", 251. We got some fresh pro day numbers, Baldy. 4.65 40-yard dash today. Measured in at 6'5" and 2/8 inches, 246 pounds. So down 5 pounds from the combine, and 28 bench press reps, which would have placed him second. He didn't run the combine or do the bench at the combine, but he would have ranked second in the 40 and the bench press. Mason Taylor is a good-looking guy, and I think both Mason Taylor and Arroyo, I think these are both round 2 prospects.
Call me crazy. I could make some comps here. I could go, okay, could they be Sam Laporta? I think both of them could be Sam Laporta, all right? Because Laporta, I think he ran a 4.59, Rick. But he runs and plays fast. He's been a big part of Detroit's success. But I even went back and said, remember when Travis Kelce came out of Cincinnati? Nobody knew he was going to be Hall of Fame Travis Kelce.
Yep.
But I've watched so many warm-ups of Travis pregame where he's just running these routes and he's just so smooth. Coming out of breaks, the subtle head bobs and just throwing guys off, and just the ability to read zone, man, where to sit down. He's elite in all of those things and still is. But I'm thinking, can Mason or Elijah do those kind of things? Because I think at that size and how smooth they are, I don't want to compare anybody to Travis Kelce when they haven't done anything yet. But they do have those traits.
Yeah.
That says they could be like this type of player.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Listen, I'm going to tell you this. I don't think I've ever seen anybody, and I've seen 20-something combines. I don't know if anybody's ran the gauntlet drill, wide receivers included, better than Mason Taylor.
Yeah.
This guy did not deviate from the yard line an inch. He ran straight. He ran he hit 22 miles per hour running the gauntlet and caught every single ball. And natural hands. I mean, this guy's got incredible skill set. And then you look at Jason Taylor and the bloodlines, and you say, man, this guy at 6'5", 246 now, 4.65 40. And LSU barely used this cat. I mean, they were doing underneath. He was like a safety valve. He wasn't even.
Well, I mean, when Jaden Daniels was there, they had the best receiving core.
Yeah.
He wasn't used that much. But even Aurora, if you look at that opening touchdown against Georgia Tech, he got clocked at 22 miles an hour on that throw from Cam Ward. I mean, they're going 22 miles an hour in the open field. They're running away from people. Both of them have elite ability after the catch.
One other guy I want to give credit to is Colston Loveland. I don't think it gets talked about enough. He suffered, and I'm no doctor, but a type V AC injury in September and underwent a labrum repair in his AC joint reconstruction during spring ball. Okay. And then AC reconstruction, he's back in training camp and he plays the whole season through it.
Yeah.
I think he had to have a procedure after the season to clean some things up. But this guy played not 100%. And I think I told you, it gave me some Heath Miller vibes watching him. And I don't think he has a high of a ceiling as some of these guys we just talked about, like a Mason Taylor or an Elijah Rote, but I think his floor is higher. I think you're getting a solid starter, plug and play, ready to go right now. And I mean, and look, dude, we didn't even talk about, like, look at these day three, like Mitchell Evans. I don't know where he falls, but the Notre Dame tight end, I think I like that kid. Terrence Ferguson from Oregon.
Luke Lachey.
Lachey from Iowa, I love. And then
one line's right there all the way.
Yeah, and like Harold Fannin from Bowling Green. I know he just went to go visit the 49ers. I don't know where Harold Fannin, like, again, same deal, 4'7", 140 at 6'3", tight end, a little bit shaky. But overall, like, if you need a tight end, it's a great year for tight ends. Brian Baldinger, Rick Serritella.
Syracuse. Like, it's
Gadsden from Syracuse, another Bloodlines guy.
Yep.
Yes. His father, big time playmaker for those Miami Dolphins. All right, Brian Baldinger, Rick Serritella, breaking it down, chopping it up. NFL Pro Day live reaction. We mentioned Mason Taylor, LSU in action today. Will Campbell, Baldy, Will Campbell, 33-inch arms. A lot to do about nothing. Maybe so. Yes, no. I don't know. Like, everybody was up in arms about the 32 and 5/8 inches at the combine. And like just a disclaimer so like people understand, because I see this talked about a lot online. Well, how do people's arms grow? How do people's hands grow? Like, it's not that they grow. It's just that there's no exact science to this, whether you like it or not. And everybody who does measurements, myself included, has a different method to the madness. And so, like, when you're measuring a wingspan, for example, and you tell a guy to stretch out and measure that wingspan, and you pull out the measuring tape, okay, it could be a difference of, like, whether he's straight or has his arms angled a little bit like that. I mean, that could make a huge difference. I've seen guys measure hands up in the air with the ruler. I've seen guys measure hands where it's down pat. So, like, when you have different humans measuring, there's something called a human element. So whether it's 32 and 5/8 or 33 inches, Baldy, are you declaring Will Campbell a tackle, a guard, or to be determined?
You know what? It's to be determined is the answer, honestly, Rick. And here's why. Because I can give you, and you can do the same, I can give you a lot of comps. I remember, it could be Zach Martin coming out of Notre Dame, left tackle. I mean, he's a Hall of Fame right guard in Dallas. I remember, Quentin Nelson. He could have been a left tackle, Notre Dame. He's Pro Bowl, left guard in Indianapolis. I mean, just go through the list of all the different guys. Deion Dawkins. I was friends with Deion Dawkins from his sophomore year at Temple. Everybody said Deion Dawkins is going to be a guard. Deion Dawkins goes to Pro Bowl every year at left tackle. He's an elite athlete. And when I look at Will Campbell, I feel like he reminds me of the left tackle of Minnesota. He reminds me sometimes of Deion Dawkins because he's got great feet and he's in good position. You could say Rashawn Slater, he's got 33-inch arms. Like, Myles Garrett can't beat Rashawn Slater, And so I think that everybody's different. And right now, if Will Campbell is drafted in the top 10, like, I'm playing him at tackle. And if it doesn't work out, I'll move him into guard, but I'm going to give him every chance to win the job at left tackle.
Baldy, I did the Patriots podcast show, and this guy, Will Campbell, keeps being linked to New England, number four. Like, can he go? I mean, obviously they need to protect their new asset in Drake May. They just signed Stephon Diggs. They went crazy on the defensive side of the football. Like, I guess you could kind of make sense, but can you justify it? Like, if Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter are on the board, can you justify taking Will Campbell at 4?
Well, I mean, you want to take the best player, and I would say that, Carter or Travis Hunter are better players. I mean, so you take the best player. And you put Travis opposite of Christian Gonzalez, and you might have the best tandem of young corners in all of football. And if Travis gives you 30 plays on offense, third downs, red zone, need a play in 2 minutes, you put him on the field. you got the package for him. Like, that would make a lot of sense. They have not addressed their offensive line well enough. I thought they had one legitimate NFL starter last year on the line. They played a bunch of, I'm not going to say direct, but they had backup players in there all year long.
A lot of tweeners. Yeah. Guys playing tackle who are guards, guys playing guard who are tackles. They do need to solidify the offensive line. And, it's an interesting draft class for offensive tackles because, like, I could see a half a dozen of these guys going round one, but they all come with some kind of warts or question marks.
Yeah.
None of them really have ideal arm length, whether it's Kelvin Banks or Will Campbell. Membo does have the arm length, 33 and 4/8. Again, not prototypical, but bigger arms than some of the others. Some like him as guard. All these guys in the first round mix, including Josh Simmons, who had the injury, but now longtime draft Nick Bob McGinn from the Milwaukee Journal, Green Bay, Wisconsin, Milwaukee Journal. Bob McGinn tapped in, connected, saying that NFL. In fact, he quoted anonymous NFL scouts saying he's an F-head, he's a jerk, he's a bad character guy. I don't know. There's 141 NFL personnel, 6 head coaches, and 5 GMs in attendance at that Ohio State Pro Day. What do we make of Josh Simmons, who, by the way, 6'5" or 6'4" and 7/8 inches, 317 pounds, 33-inch arm length at the combine? What's your takeaway there, Baldy?
Well, I mean, look, he got through 4 games last year before he was injured, so that's always a concern. But I mean, everything says he's fine. He's going to be healthy. I mean, he's an elite talent, but you have to factor in all of the character issues. You just have to factor it in because we've seen, we're going to have 32 first-round picks, and we're going to have 10 busts. And sometimes it's in every draft you've got 10.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Sometimes it's the character. Sometimes it's just a lack of love of football. Sometimes it's like it's not the most important thing in their life. They just never figured out how to be pros. There's, and then there could be other factors physically that lead to a demise. But we're going to have 10 busts in this draft that guys are not going to pan out. And why is that? You have to do your homework on these guys, and you have to feel really comfortable taking a guy in the first round. Like Paris Johnson came out. He's played, left tackle in Ohio State. He's played every snap 2 years in a row. Like he is, and he's gotten better 2 years. Like he was, when you met Paris, like you knew just from a mental standpoint, he was going to be really sharp. Sharp guy to talk to, sharp guy to be around. You had very few concerns, and Arizona got themselves a really good player. And you have to be that comfortable. I think Paris was the first tackle taken that year, the 6th player taken. It was a good draft for tackles. We'll see how it all plays out. But, I don't know if Josh Simmons is in that category right now.
Yeah, well, it all goes back to your point in the opening of the show. Like, hey, I got a chance to be around Cam Ward. I got a sense of his personality. And, that's it, the DNA. Can I work with this guy? Is he receptive to our coaching style?
Mm-hmm.
Is there going to be a wall of communication? Like, if there's a sense of that, like, automatically you get downgraded, especially in that first round conversation. All right, a couple of loose ends here at the Ohio State Pro Day that went on today. On the other side of the trenches, Tyleik Williams did not make it through his 40. He took a little tumble, little spill, little fall. Expected to be okay. Now, I know this is a guy that you're very high on, this Tyleik Williams. Give us a little breakdown there, Baldy.
Well, I think that when I watch him play, he's got tremendous. I mean, he plays with low pad level, so he plays with good technique and good pad level. He gets off his blocks. He stacks and sheds the way you want to. I guess the question I have for Tyleik is, what is he going to give you in the pass rush right now? Like, I'm not sure, but you have to give these guys time to, because you've got to be more than a 2-down player if you're going to be a first-round pick or a high second-round pick. I figure like Tyleik looks like a second-round pick to me. Just physically, he's very stout. He's like a fire plug from the waist down. Very difficult to move him. And he ran well. He ran well and he moves well. And a guy who's just under 6'3", and probably 325, 320, 325 right now. He's got all the size you want to be able to handle the run game inside right now and win inside. But I think fundamentally he's very, very sound.
Yeah, 6'3", 334 pounds, and has got some agility there. That Tyreek Williams. Okay, Emeka Egbuka, who I'm very high on, Baldy.
Yeah.
In fact, I think he's the safest wide receiver in this year's draft. Like, I don't have any questions or concerns about what I'm getting. I'm getting a high quality caliber, probably a wide receiver too, and I'm okay with that in the first round. Like, hey, let's go. Jordan Addison, same deal. Like, let's rock. He was timed here in the mid 4.4, high 4.4, 4.44, 4.48, and somewhere in between. But again, like, he's a physical guy. He's a polished route runner. He's got flexibility where they used him inside and outside. And like, I just don't see a lot of flaws. And maybe he doesn't have, again, a high of ceiling. Like, you would talk about Tet McMillan and Luther Burden and Matthew Golden and I guess whoever else you want to throw in that wide receiver first round conversation. Isaiah Bond ran a 4.29 yesterday at his pro day. But like, if I had to take one guy and my job was on the line, give me Emeka Egbuka.
Well, when you say safe, I mean, what you're seeing is just major production, all right, going all the way back when C.J. Stroud was the quarterback, through Kyle McCord to Will Campbell, the whole group. He's been productive with everybody he's played with. He can win from the inside. He can win from the outside. He's a very good route runner, and he's got good size. Like, there's nothing not to like about Egbuka. It seems like he's been there forever. Like, I know he's been playing for 4 years, but it seems like it's even longer than that because he was matched up there with Marvin Harrison. You go back to Garrett Wilson. I mean, he was on the field with all those guys. And, he's going up against elite first-round pick, battling with elite first-round picks. And there's more over the last few years where he got his share of targets from those guys. And everybody was very comfortable throwing to him in the plays that they called for him. He executed.
All right, one last guy I want to ask you about there at Ohio State. We've talked about him in the past, and that's the quarterback who led the Buckeyes to a national championship. Now, Quinn Ewers had 9 balls hit the ground at his pro day yesterday at the Longhorns workout. Will Howard, the ball hardly hit the turf. I think 1 ball hit the ground. He had 40 straight completions until the first ball hit the ground. I guess the highlight, he didn't have an 85-yarder like Cam Ward, but apparently his final throw was a 35, 40-yard dime on the money. What's your takeaway with Will Howard? Where do you kind of see him here in the quarterback equation, Baldy?
Well, I don't know if he's a day 2 pick right now. I don't even know if he is that. I think the motion is a little loopy, a little, long for what you need. Like, I just don't see the twitch in his game that the quarterback position requires right now. And so that'd be my concern. I feel comfortable he's going to get drafted, which can be good or bad. But we've seen plenty of quarterbacks taking the middle rounds that never really get on the field. When they do, they don't really shine. I think Kyle McCord could have taken that team to a national champion had he stayed and been just as good, if not better. Might not be as good as a runner, but, we're not running Will Howard at the NFL like he did at Ohio State with all the quarterback draws and keepers that he ran. But, they did that because of his size. He was pretty good at it. But I think that's the one thing you can say. You like his size. But I don't know that he's got the twitch you need. And just what I saw from Cam Ward the other day, just a torque to get the ball out and drive it the way you got to be able to drive it. Sometimes you don't have a chance to step into the throw. And you got to be able to get some velocity on the ball to get it where you want to. I'm not sure that Will Howard has that.
Hey, Brian Baldinger, Rick Serritella here on the All Access Football NFL DraftCast Show. Hey, Cole, we're going to burn through this final commercial break, okay, because there's just too much football to talk. And we can do that here at the All Access Football because we're independently owned and operated. So go support the cause. Go to allaccessfootball.com. We are telling you, listen, you're going to have the Bible on draft day, all these breakdowns. We got analysis from Baldy. We got analysis from myself. We got the crack committee burning the midnight oil with all the backgrounds, the medicals, the character concerns. We got it all for you in the NFL Draft Bible. And when you go to allaccessfootball.com and subscribe, you get access to our scouting seminars, our monthly hangouts, all the Baldy breakdowns. They're flowing over there at the allaccessfootball.com. And oh, by the way, we got the 2026 rankings on deck, on tap, coming at you. It's all part of the deal. Go to allaccessfootball.com. Do it now. Do it right now. And we appreciate all the love and support. We're celebrating 23 years of independent analysis right here, right now. We'll probably wrap up a little bit early, but let's just tie up some loose ends here with the quarterbacks. You mentioned Will Howard, quite not in that tier 2 echelon. Let's talk about some signal callers who had a pro day workout yesterday. In Quinn Ewers and Tyler Shuck. You know, you were at the Cam Ward pro day, Baldy, but Quinn Ewers was a guy talked about for a mighty long time. It seemed like, at least coming into the season. And I would say even as far as like halfway into the season until he got hurt and we saw Arch Manning come in for him, Quinn Ewers was talking about first round potential grade there. And then Tyler Shuck, all of a sudden, it's like people just discovered him at the Senior Bowl or something, and he's got all this momentum coming. Let's get your thoughts on those two guys.
Yeah, I mean, Quinn Ewers has had, elite players around him now for the last couple of years at Ohio. I mean, after he left Ohio State to go to Texas. I mean, elite talent. Now, they've won a lot of big games, won a lot of football games in Texas, and he's been a part of it. But I don't know that he's elevated the guys around him this way, like, say, Cam Ward has elevated his players, or Shedeur Sanders has elevated his. Jackson Dart is a guy that I like a lot. 3 good years at Mississippi. He's played just about 40 games there. You watch his final game against Duke, he was flawless, like 400 yards, 4 touchdowns, scrambling, extended plays. You watch him against Georgia where he didn't have to do a lot, but he didn't make any mistakes, and he beat Georgia. I think that if I'm looking at guys, Jackson Dart looks like a guy. I mean, even what Jalen Milroe did last week when he ran whether it's a 4.37 or 4.42, like, you have to respect the athletic ability of Jalen Milroe. Now, is he accurate enough? No, but neither was Josh Allen. Neither was Jalen Hurts. Neither was some of these other guys coming out either. But
Lamar Jackson.
Like, he's been as accurate as any of those 3 guys while his time at Alabama, and just as athletic as any of those guys. Watch him at the Senior Bowl. Yeah, like, does he need work and practice and a good supporting cast? Absolutely. But there might be a lot there, a real upside, if you can do what they've done with Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts, when he took on the field as a rookie and the 53rd pick in the draft in Philadelphia, I'll never forget. Like, basically, he ran the ball down the field against New Orleans and won his first game. But that's what he was at first. He was a runner. And the passing game was extremely simple. And here he is now, the Super Bowl MVP. So it just depends on where you go and how patient you're going to be.
And the foreshadowing was there. Like you mentioned, being around these guys, the personality, the DNA. Like, I remember Jalen Hurts being there 2 hours after practice, still signing autographs, meeting with the fans. All the Alabama fans in Mobile that wanted to speak to him were there, lined up, and he didn't leave until he signed every autograph, talked to every individual. Like, the writing was on the wall. I should have seen it there, that this guy was not going to be denied.
Well, I mean, just the fact that he got benched in the national championship game for Tua and then stuck around the next year and helped them win the SEC championship, and then transfer to Oklahoma after he graduated from Alabama. He didn't just flee right away. He stayed and competed. So you found out a little bit about his DNA. Just the fact he didn't leave right away, graduated, then went to Oklahoma and took a step forward. In fact, he told me that up until maybe now, but with Kellen Moore this year, that the only guy he really learned a lot from was Lincoln Riley when he went to Oklahoma. And he took to the coaching and the hard coaching that he gave him.
That makes sense because, like, if you go back and look at the numbers, he actually ran that offense more efficiently than Baker Mayfield did the year, and they had that string: Kyler Murray, Baker Mayfield, Jalen Hurts. But you can argue Hurts ran that offense as good as any of them.
Like through the first 9 or 10 weeks, he was on pace to win the Heisman. That year at Oklahoma. I mean, he was putting up one good game after another consistently.
All right, we got a question coming in from the chat room, which reminds me, we want to be more interactive here on the NFL DraftCast. Whether you're on Twitter or YouTube, chime in, leave a comment, at least give us a like, a share, a subscribe, get the algorithm going for us. But Dave Del Cole, he's in there with the scouting seminar chat rooms. He wants to know, Baldy, talking quarterbacks, Riley Leonard out of Notre Dame, Curtis Rourke out of Indiana, two guys that we saw in the college football playoff. Got some size, the ability to make all the throws, not as talented as some of these other guys we're mentioning. But if you had to roll the dice, day 3, which guy you want to take a gamble on?
I would take Riley Leonard. And I'm a little biased. I went to Duke. I watched him at Duke. I know guys that he played with there. He is an elite athlete. He's a great athlete. And you could say, okay, Notre Dame, he didn't do a lot. You could say a lot of things, but there's Notre Dame playing in the national championship game. He had something to do with that. I would take a flyer on Riley Leonard just because I've seen him win a lot of games at Duke and at Notre Dame. He's a winner, and he's a great athlete. Now, if he didn't get hurt at Duke, I don't know if they would have been transferred. I'm not sure. But, that year he got hurt, 2023, he was on pace, and Duke was on pace to win a lot of games that year with them. Just because of what type of person he is, what kind of athlete he is, I would bank on Riley Leonard at this point.
Yeah, I think you're getting a strong backup at the very least, somebody who's smart, competent, can make all the throws, and most importantly, availability. He's clean on the injury and the medical. Curtis Rourke, we don't know what we're getting there, so give me the safer thing. I'll go Riley Leonard as well. All right, Baldy, I know you got to get gone. I just saw your note there. Tell the people at home where you're going to be at. I know you got the Colorado Pro Day and everything.
Here we go.
State Pro Day. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm going to be I'm leaving tomorrow to get to State College. Be there with James Franklin and Abdul Carter and Ty Warren and 14 other players, interviewing a bunch of them. They start their measurements at 7 in the morning on Friday. I'll be there all day in State College Friday. And then the following week, I'll be in Boulder for Colorado's Pro Day. So I'm looking forward to seeing Shador, seeing Travis, seeing my buddies Warren Sapp and Dion and Marshall Falk, all the guys I've worked with for years at the NFL Network. Looking forward to seeing a lot of guys in that staff and a couple other defense linemen that tells me that they got a real chance at the NFL level.
BJ Green sitting with a 6th-round grade on our big board right now. He stood out to me at the Hula Bowl. I can't wait to see all the NFL Network coverage. Of course, go to NFL.com for all of Baldy's breakdowns there, the NFL Network for his Pro Day coverage, and All Access Football for more Baldy breakdowns, the scouting seminars, the 2025 NFL Draft Bible 1. Thank everybody for tuning in to this NFL DraftCast edition here on this March 26, 2025. We'll be back next Wednesday, 3:30 p.m. Eastern, live, counting you down to the 2025 NFL Draft Destination Green Bay. We're out of here, everybody.